Welcome back to Thrones Be the Game. We are back. We took off a week to get some personal things together for the family and friends for House of the Dragon. This episode is, hold on, I'm pulling my notes here. This episode, I think it's six, right?
4 and 5 or five.
Five. It's episode five.
Mhm.
Episode
Yeah.
five. And the name of the episode, hold on, We Light the Way is the name of the episode. We didn't last week, so let's talk a little bit about Renice, I'm sorry, and her untimely demise that we knew about, but the way that it went down, and then we can go into episode five review because that kind of springboards into everything happened in episode five. Bethany, I'm gonna go with you. How did you think that epic battle at the end with the three dragons played out to you? That we learned about, but now we see it.
Right. Job well done. I know people have been like, "Oh, we want a battle of the dragons," and actually seeing the dragons battle has me like, "No, I don't want to see the dragons battle no more." It was just way too sad. I've been saying for weeks we're running out of time with my forever queen Rhaenys, but how she went out like such a G. The fact that she knew she had time to escape and go back to Dragonstone, but she knew that, hey, it's either them or me. And that she did not order Meleys, who was quicker, the faster flying dragon and the more battle hardened dragon outside of Vhagar, that she did not order Meleys to Dracarys, but to attack.
Yeah.
And seeing Aemond order Vhagar to Dracarys with his brother in the line of fire indicates his deeper motivation. So, R.I.P. Auntie Rhaenys. She will forever be missed. She went out like a G. I don't want to see any more dragons battle.
All right, Scott, you.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of second her sentiments about that. I mean, she went out like a G. She understood the assignment, and she pushed forward, even though knowing so was probably spelled her demise. So I don't know if this is actually true or not, but the way I saw it was that it kind of changed the dynamic because how Aemond saw what he wanted and he pushed forward, almost consequences be damned, and she did almost the exact opposite. She saw what her oath was. She thought what was best for what she thought she was doing best for the realm, even if it cost her. And that kind of sacrificial type of mentality, I thought, really was a really good contrast to what Aemond was doing, and ultimately how he responded later on in episode 5. But even how when he met Kristen Cole at Sunfire's body as he was dying, and Aegon's porn body, he just seemed disappointed. He just seemed they survived. And I can't do it. I did the most I could, and they survived. So I guess I just have to accept these consequences. And then it just kind of really saw that ambition and that selfishness we kind of really showed in those moments.
What was interesting to me is from we read is like a history book that just stating facts. 3 dragons fought, Rhaenys died. Next thing, it was interesting to see it play out the way it did. Because I was talking to Sleepy, he came over and everything. And I was like, man, Vhagar is basically your homeboy that you be like, dude, we finna go fight. But if you bring him, he going to fight. Like it's like it ain't no we finna negotiate or move it around or do anything different. You bring me somebody, I'm throwing hands. I don't know, I don't care what's happening. It's going to go down. And the fact that he sat there and let his brother be a dummy, a crash test dummy, basically, and going out there first, and he's like, no, chill, and let him get caught up in everything, and then like, oh yeah, now it's time.
Yeah,
it feels way more nefarious on Aemond's part, especially when we jump into episode 5 of like, oh, he was on some real like 2 birds, 1 stone.
In particular,
Vhagar said your man's in the club that's on tequila that shouldn't be drinking tequila in the club.
It makes you want to fight, and particularly realizing that Aegon realized in episode 4 that Aemond and Christian Cole had been kind of plotting behind his back. coming up with war strategy, war tactics for this ambush of Rhaenys. They purposefully drew a dragon from Dragonstone with the intent to, lure them out into the open. And seeing Aemon watch Aegon fly across the screen with Sunfire, he was like, okay, Vhagar, not right now. Go ahead. And Vhagar only looks like she wants to really take a nap, right? She's she has to be there and has to go eat somebody else because she's old, she's cranky, she just wants to rest. And Aemon just really kind of let Aegon set the scene for him. And he came in, and when Aegon saw his brother in Vhagar, he's like, yeah, all right. And then he orders Vhagar to Dracarys. He was like, well, hold on, wait a minute. This isn't at all what I thought how it was supposed to go down. So it was really indicative of the subterfuge, right? The machinations behind the scenes without Aegon's knowledge. So
now I will say
we can transition. Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say the one thing though, Vhagar. So I've had a lot of dogs growing up, and Vhagar got that impression that your dog wants to go out and play, or he wants to walk, and you tell him to wait a little bit, and he gives that exacerbated sigh that he wanted to run and get it started. I will say that in Aemon's whatever defense I can give him, I don't believe he was goading his brother to come out to go fight. I think he was jabbing at his brother that he couldn't, because of all the reasons that he did. But I think that he really became opportunistic once he saw his brother on the battlefield and realized that, like you said earlier, two birds with one stone type of thing. I don't think it was ever his plan to goad his brother out.
It was not his plan to bring Aegon out. It was a plan to bring a dragon from Dragonstone.
No.
Whether it was Meleys or Cyrax or any Jace's dragon, it was to get a dragon out of Dragonstone, not to get his brother drunkenly flying through the sky thinking he can fight.
Yes, so as we transition into episode 5, as we kind of piggyback into that, Kristen Cole, this is a question I have for you all. Do you think he saw what happened? Or was he so shell-shocked? It reminded me in the movie Glory. Remember in the beginning, Matthew Broderick, just so like decrepit from the war, he ended up hiding and was like, dude, like this, I didn't seen some stuff. So like he comes back and he's a different man. Yeah. And that comment he says when he's at the gate and he was like, we just gave this battle is for dragons. I ain't got shit to help you out with. This is a battle of dragons. I'm just kind of support services. Mm-hmm. Do you think he saw what that happened with that, or was he still kind of hazy in that kind of situation, or did he see that, or is it only us as the viewer that saw what he did to Aegon, that what Aemon did to Aegon?
So I believe Kristen saw it. I think Kristen, he really realized how smart Aemon was as a tactician, and then how powerful he is with Vhagar. He realized that there's no path for him to win by not backing Aemon. It's like he doesn't back Aemon for what? If his mother can't really control him, Aegon is may die, and so he realized that if I don't let this guy know that I'm afraid of him and I don't betray him, then at least I can, to what extent he believes he can, preserve his own life and his integrity and his place and position. And I think he just really, didn't. I don't think he sees a path that anyone can beat Aemon with Vhagar. That's the kind of impression I got when he saw it up close and realized what the dragons were and what Vhagar did to two dragons. And he goes, "Oh, this is not the kind of warfare that I'm prepared for." Like, I'm not here.
He's like a Vietnam person that came back like, hey, man, I've been in Vietnam, man. Like, you don't know what happens over there with children shooting you with guns and all kind of stuff going on. That's why he came back like, his eyes are even wider. Like, he just seen everything. And the funny thing is I go to you, Bethany, is you got to, as we know, none of these cats have seen dragons in battle for real ever. Nobody has. So this is like the first time we've seen anyone in this realm in hundreds of years have seen dragons in battle.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all the above. I think it's Christian's realization that he actually saw up close in person the devastation that dragons wreak on each other and on the human body and how it tips the scales of battle. He also realized he is out of his league. He's out of his depth. He is underqualified. He's not prepared for this. He does not know how to put into words in a way that makes sense to justify the position he's now in. He's scared. He is tripped out, and he also saw what Amon is capable of. He can see, when he walked up on him at the end of last episode, episode 4, and saw Amon, pull out his sword or putting his sword up. He's like, "What are you doing? Where's your brother?"
He's gonna try to put him away. Like, let me just put him out of his misery.
And if he hadn't have shown up, then we don't know what would have happened. And also realizing that he's been outmaneuvered, and this is his hubris. Okay, he's underqualified. He is out of his league, and this was the realization of, oh my goodness, what have we done? Okay, so when they decided to parade the decapitated head of the dragon, well, first of all, who came up with that, and who co-signed it? It was Christian and Amon, right? Dummy and Evil Man. So they were just like, hey, don't they realize that we won? No. This is a dragon that the people of King's Landing have seen fly overhead for their entire lifetime. During a time of peace, Rhaenys wasn't the enemy. Meleys wasn't the enemy. And the fact that they were touting it up as, oh, see the traitor dragon, Meleys, the traitor dragon, really? Like dragons have a choice? Like they do anything outside of the will of their rider, and it's their decision to be a traitor? They don't understand what that means. And the townspeople said it. I thought they were supposed to be like gods. And the fact that Aemond and Aegon are half Targaryen, and didn't even, the irony just shot right over their head that this is a power, a symbol of the power of your house too. You're Targaryens, but they're out here acting like a bunch of high towers, right? Because nobody is thinking long game.
Yeah.
What about you, Scott?
I mean, I agree 100%.
This it's funny that as we like looking at the dynamics of King's Landing. In the books, did Aegon have did he get Regent, King Regent in the book?
Yes, for a while he was named King Regent, or the regent to the king, right?
Right. Okay. Right. And then now this is a question, and I don't know if you guys peeped this. They said that Aegon's dragon was dead.
Yeah.
In there, are they changing that?
Yeah, Sunfire died.
In the show, but Sunfire.
Yeah, they say that. Right, but in the show they said Sunfire is dead.
I thought they said Sunfire remained at that battlefield, but I don't think they ever said. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. No.
What he said is that Sunfire remained at the battlefield because it was slow to perish, and so it was still alive. And he set a small garrison of men, or left a small garrison of men at Rook's Rest. To basically watch over Sunfire as it died, and then to protect Rook's Rest. But that's what Kristen Cole said when he was talking to Alicent outside the gate.
Yeah, I think that's a double play. Like they're trying to act like he's dead, but then it's gonna, show us some other stuff later on that it's like kind of like a double play on it, that he's not really dead.
I don't know how it can survive.
But we know anyway. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm talking about from what we saw. I don't know how it can survive. That's what I'm saying.
Correct. But all right, I ain't gonna get into it. I don't want to play.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, wow, okay. Are they going to change something where something else goes where it's supposed to go, or are we going to get?
Possibly, time will tell.
I think so, because it's the same thing with. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. No, you're good.
At Harrenhal, what's her name? Is it
Alice Rivers?
Alice Rivers. Yeah, like she was a real person, but she doesn't seem to be a real person in the show. Like she disappeared. Like when no one else ever interacts with her besides Daemon. When there's a scene when right when she's talking to Daemon about what happened in the Riverlands, and the Riverland lords come and wake, and come to talk to Daemon. The strong brother walks in there, and she walks out, and she walks behind him, but she as soon as she crosses body, she completely disappears off screen, and you never see her walk past them. And so I think maybe she more of a specter in the show than an actual real person.
Yeah. It's a fair point because nobody else is interacting with her.
Yeah,
She
no one.
disappears,
I never
and she's
thought.
only interacting with Damon. Good point.
I mean, we might as well go to Hearing Hall then. I mean, Damon just does what. I mean, he just be doing stuff just to be doing stuff.
It's almost like he's on a side quest, right? Like you've been at Heron Hall for 3 episodes. I need you to go back to your wife. You out here chopping wood, talking to what we think may be a ghost, an apparition, and stop drinking whatever she's giving you, right? Because it's making you a little bit crazy, a lot of bit crazy. But I really enjoyed the interaction with Bracken, House Bracken, where he was basically like, you're gonna bow, and I might have it wrong, it might be Blackwood. I get the B's all mixed up, but whatever house it was Bracken's. He's like, hey,
he threatened Bracken. He was with Blackwood. Yeah.
Got you. Thank you. So, he's out on Caraxes and he's like, I need you to do this thing and I need you to bend the knee. And they're like, nah, we don't feel like it. And they literally turn their backs on him. And you see Caraxes in the background, just kind of lower himself down. You thought it was just going to end in fire and a bunch of burnt up brackets. And the next scene cuts to Damon sitting there like confused, like, I didn't think they'd be so eager to die. Yeah. But also, I kind of admire that and I need that. So I'm not going to do anything to them. I need you to take care of all the dirty work for me without giving any real instruction. Again, a disaster similar to, the beheading of the young prince. He doesn't really specify exactly what he does and does not want done, and didn't tell him, hey, and don't fly our banners, when you go do these awful things. And now all the River Lords are pissed off at Damon. So I need him to go back to his wife. I need him to go back home and start, taking a little bit of direction and strategically thinking with his wife, because he is not doing this right at all.
Damon clearly is the creator of Demon Time, because every time he talks to somebody without any real specific instructions, he wants the worst possible version of them to show up. It is absolutely insane.
Like, let's just do Blood and Cheese over again. Y'all do what y'all feel. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna turn around. Y'all do what y'all feel. Take out all the beef you want to.
just letting the tail wag the dog a little bit.
Right.
And it's interesting. It shows It shows how much Eamon and Damon and we talked about this. They're the exact same person, the same character. But it also shows in a lot of ways how both of them are inept at being governors. They're great in battle, but horrible governors, like of people.
Yeah.
Like all these different turns. You've been like, and it's funny you said that Bethany is side quest. It feels like an RPG game where it's like you supposed to be doing the regular stuff, but you off going collect berries, like you said, chopping wood. Go back on your main mission and finish the game.
Collecting random coins, right? Random coins. Right. But the difference, the only difference that I see between Damon and Eamon is that while Viserys was still alive, there was someone still to kind of issue that checks and balances with Damon. He was able to, kind of quell the worst of his impulse control issues. With Eamon, there's nobody who can kind of rein him back and rein him in, because he never really outwardly says it, but because he's the writer of Vagar, who gonna check him? Nobody. There's nobody left. And you saw how he totally disregards anything his mother's saying now. And he said it several episodes ago, my mother speaks with 2 tongues. He's got no respect for his mother. Alicent has lost any shred of hold over either of her sons, Aegon because he's burnt to a crisp, and Eamon because who gonna check him? So now she is relegated because she's a woman, and now she is slowly seeing that she orchestrated this exact treatment against Rhaenyra, and now she's suffering those same consequences. So she's useless now.
I gotta be honest though, it's a fair argument. It's like, I'm serious. Like the whole claim is that, well, Rhaenyra can't be queen because he had a male heir, which is Aemon, and Aemon is incapacitated, and then go, well, we're gonna make his mom the queen regent. I mean, that's what you're fighting the war about.
Yes.
The premise of your war is what's not in question is that Rhaenyra is the oldest child. If the only argument her being a woman isn't sufficient, it should go to the oldest male heir. So if that's the case, then Aemon has to be the regent.
I mean, but it never crossed her mind. She thought she was special. She thought she was different. She thought all of the manipulation that she was doing, the sexual favors she was handed out by showing Larys her feet and by, riding Christian Cole at night. And it turns out it means nothing, okay? Because you're still a woman, and all those quiet whispers and them late night whisperings and what's a friend of mine call it tiddly-winking and shaboinking. It turns out that it was all for naught because they passed over you, and they had a more intimate relationship with you for the same reasons they passed over the rightful heir to the throne, because you're a woman. And also too, you served your time during Viserys's illness, but that was during a time of peace. This is a time of war. What do you know about it? And then the same with Rhaenyra's counsel. I forgot the Lord, who was like, the gentler sex isn't really made for tactics and strategy and war. And she's like, well, I fought exactly as many wars as you have, so why don't you shut the fuck up? Which is zero.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's no, you're right. But I'm saying that from a perspective, then the claim to Aegon's throne is sexism, right? That's his whole claim to the throne. Now you could say, well, she have experienced this. Various and sundry people have experience in battles, going forward. I would argue, though, a second part with Alicent's issue is that Aemon is fucking terrifying. So it's not just, oh, you're a woman. It's, well, I will survive getting on your bad side. I may not survive getting on this dude's bad side. So there's that. There is a. I know you could probably argue this is probably some sexism to some extent, but there is a more tangible threat of violence pissing off Aemon than there is pissing off Alicent.
Yes.
Not wrong.
I mean, he just go like, hey, meet me in the dragon pit real quick. I want to holler at you.
Yeah. While Vhagar just sit over here taking a nap, but still in sight, okay, because I own Vhagar. I'm Vhagar's
that they said in there. They said that in the Dragonstone about Vhagar, and you say that they said that basically there was a time to attack them because she needs so much to eat to even rejuvenate back. This is the time we need to attack. I didn't even think about that as that a dragon that big would need to power back up over a long time, eating a whole bunch of sheep.
So, and there is a really great example of things that hadn't had to be considered before, right? He brought it up. It's a valid point. Hey, Vhagar just fought basically Sunfire and Meleys and sustained a little bit of damage, and it took a lot out of her. So now's the time to attack and reign. And I'm actually a little still kind of pissed off at Rhaenyra. She, for my taste, she's far too passive. She has spent way too much time agonizing over what's fair and what's right and how can we avoid all this. You guys are taking hit after hit after hit. Your best dragon rider, your fastest, most battle-hardened dragon, you've lost really your only counsel now that Damon's over here at Harrenhal tripping out. Your aunt, who was the steady ear, your steady voice in your ear. You keep taking these losses, but what you gonna do about it? What are you going to do about it? We're 5 episodes in. What are you going to do besides ship all your kids and some dragon eggs off to the Vale? Which, shout out to Lady Aaron, right?
Yeah.
she was on one too, though.
She was. And shout out to Raina when Lady Aaron.
Hey, Raina was being a diplomat, boy. It's like, hold on, we told you what we was gonna bring.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't recall you specifying the size of dragon. Right now, what you got is 2 more than what you had. So,
yeah.
What we gonna do here? Like, they'll be big in a minute. So, when you're talking about Rhaenyra, it's so funny. I heard, like, Corlys is fed up with Rhaenyra, low key. I feel like, like he's fed up with her. My wife is dead. I think low key he thinks that his son is dead because of her. Even though we know that he kind of dipped off and did his thing. His daughter is dead because of your husband, in theory, because he was doing Damon shit. His brother is dead because of Damon, even though his brother was tripping. But like all these things have been happening because of you, and oh, you want to throw me the bone of being your hand of the queen.
He said it. Has she not asked enough of me? Has she
And
not asked
got
enough?
Baylor kind of to be her little new daughter, kind of like where she like, no, I don't want to take your be under you. That's for someone in salt and sea, as she said. I'm basically I'm fire and sky.
Fire and blood. That's right. The drift marks should pass to salt and sea. But Bayla's got a spine to her. I love to see that. I love to see Jace. Try, and really they're just trying to do anything to keep him occupied because it feels like Rhaenyra is not doing anything but being extra cautious. And so him going to the twins to meet the Freys, right? And hey, look, we need this crossing. You can have Harrenhal. And they're like, yeah, sure. We don't know Harrenhal's expensive to upkeep and it's in ruin. And also Damon is out there tripping right now. Sure, we'll take Harrenhal. You have the
Bethany, you said basically Harrenhal is a crib in a Central West End that people don't know. They just see it from the outside, but don't know it needs to be updated on the inside.
Yes. Yes. It still holds its curb appeal. I mean, it's value because it has value as a historical location. But it's a money pit. It's a total money pit, right? Do not recommend 0 stars.
It's a lot.
See, I know you live in a situation, so you already know what I mean by that.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So what do you think about everything going on in Dragonstone, Scott? Rhaenyra and her kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some parallels to what's happening with her and Allison, but I think what's happening with her is more explainable. A lot of her council have taken hits, at their ancestral lands. They've lost family members, they've lost position, and they've sacrificed in her in their support of her, and then to see her not be more aggressive in counter strike, or at least having a fundamental plan of action or attack, and then again, her beef with Damon notwithstanding, she stood her ground with her husband because of however her and Damon's relationship went. But also, we can have that fight once we win King's Landing. It's like let's actually execute. Let's execute the battle first, and then we can figure out, how much you're gonna bend the knee. It's like her drawing the line in the sand about she raising the army for himself or raising her. It don't matter. Y'all both are going to go under the knife if y'all lose. It's not as if there's a surrender that either one of you two can make, because both of you live and undermine the validity of Aegon's throne or Aemon or whoever that heir is. So I mean, I think they were just a little bit premature, kind of trying to hash out what happens in the post-war, how to divvy up the empire versus winning the war first. And I think that's some of the frustration that we're seeing in some of her council and her council members, because she seems to be a little too preoccupied.
You can make it a word. We'll allow
it. You got it.
Yeah, and trying to keep the peace and or figure out what comes afterwards instead of what comes next. And that I can see how that's frustrating, particularly when there are real significant losses in her council's family and lands and family, those type of components.
Agree.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they're going to play this out with Corlys. I mean, because Corlys, I think he's feel like he's just strategically doing stuff himself now at this point. It feels like he's like going. This is the moment where he's like, I'm gonna do stuff good for the realm, not what's good for Rhaenyra in itself.
Yeah,
like I care about the realm more than I care. Kind of like how what's my guy in the first one, man? I can't remember him now. Our eunuch from the first one. I can't remember his name now.
Varys.
Varys was like how Varys was like, he's about how to make the realm better. He could care less who's up at the top as long as the realm is on point. And I'm wondering if he's starting to take that kind of mind state.
Yeah, because now he feels like he has, he's lost his anchor, right? And if you kind of remember, prior to all of these events recently, he's been more concerned about, his sea, right? The blockades. His lane is naval warfare, and he did it in service to who he felt was a rightful queen, but he was still just a little bit removed from it, right? He's just playing his role. He's the sea commander, the sea snake, and it's not until he loses his wife that it really hits home. Now you have to stand on it. You're going to have to make it worth it. Make it worth it. So the loss of his wife, I think, is what's going to kind of galvanize him into, as you said, D Free, just being for the realm and for the people, and going ahead and accepting the role of the hand, so he can advise her the best way that he can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
go ahead, Scott.
I think his grief. I think his grief has made him reevaluate what his commitment to it all was. So I won't delve too much more.
Oh, so you think his commitment is changing?
Yeah.
In a
Just a
sense.
reevaluation.
A
Of the
reevaluation.
commitment.
See, I don't think he was fully committed to the cause prior to losing his wife, right? He was just doing as he thought, remaining in his lane where he felt he was the strongest, which is naval warfare. And the loss of his wife has made it super fucking personal now. So yeah, it's either, I'm going to fight for the blacks, or I'm going to fight for the greens. And my wife was murdered by the greens. So my only choice now is to support Rhaenyra and her claim to the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they how they play that out with that. What do you all since we had a lot it was a lot of moving pieces this episode, but finally, as we kind of wrap it up on this, is Aemon now where he wants to be? Does he want to be the king, but like not the king, where it's like, oh, I don't have to have, like, he almost wants the responsibilities of the king, but not have to be the name of it. But this other guy's incapacitated, so I ain't got to worry about it. Kind of like in on in not Return of the King, where the dude was the regent there, but he's basically the king of, I forgot the land that they were in, but he just was cool with being that because he couldn't do he didn't have to do nothing else, but he was
Yeah.
never the king because the rightful king wasn't in line. Is that an Aemon thing with that? You think where he's like, I don't never have to be named fully king as long as I have all the power?
Well, I think Aemon always wanted to be wartime consigliere, right? So Aemon wants to run and control the war because that's where his interests lie. His interests lie in battle and killing and murdering and and attack and scheming. I don't think Aemon wants to rule at all. I don't think Aemon wants to sit on the Iron Throne and have people tell him, where our livestock are going to bring in, and and can we get more merchants to bring in more stuff for foolishness. I think Aemon wanted to be in control of the war, and now he has the ability to be in control of the war. And however, he sees fit to play that out. But I don't think he has a long-term desire to actually be king out, in peace. I think he definitely wants to be king in war, but I don't think he wants to be king in peace.
So, like, I'm wondering if we're going to see him doing that, like tending to people's sheep disputes and stuff like that, or is he just going to be like, man, somebody else is do that?
Yeah, I can imagine he'll delegate that.
Yeah,
or nobody's going to be able to talk to the king at this point. If he's just regent, it's just going to be like, hey, ain't no cases for like the foreseeable future for right now.
That could be true too.
I partially agree. I think Aemon has always wanted it, but he was the second son and knew that the chances were slim that it would ever pass to him. Yes, absolutely agree with Scott in that he always wanted to be a wartime consigliere. He doesn't want to rule over peace. He wants to rule over chaos. But if you remember back to season 1, they were still children. And Aemon was asking his brother, like, why do you tease our sister like that? And he's like, because she's weird. What would you do if you were forced to marry our sister? And he was like, I'd do my duty. And even when they were pulling him out of the whorehouse and out of the bar taverns after Viserys died, as he wrestles him to the ground, he's like, you're so fucking stupid. Like you fucking this up. Like, this is your duty. This is, it should have been me, basically. It should have been me, but I can't. So get your shit together, right? And the end scene of this last episode, when he was in the throne room and kind of gazing at the throne, right? He didn't sit on it, but Helena comes out of the shadows, right? And they're gonna start giving my girl more than just a handful of lines every episode, because she's profound when she speaks. What did she say? Was it worth the price? Was it worth the price? And did it end on that? I think it ended on that scene. But she's a seer, right? And she knows really what's going on, even though she's never really outwardly saying those things. But she asked him, was it worth the price? I think he's always wanted it, but didn't think that it would ever come to the point where he would be regent, or, the next in succession, the next in the line of succession.
Now, it didn't end on that scene. The scene it did end on was Jace and Rhaenyra talking about them having more dragons but not enough riders. And then them talking about going down the Targaryen bloodline to, quarter Targaryens and, half quadroons, octoroon Targaryens, to find dragon riders. Because I remember Jace making the statement, it's better than burning and dying. So,
right. That was a great setup, right? That was a great setup to the intro of what we know is going to come either the end of this season or the beginning of the next. But it was a great write-in. Great write-in.
Have we talked about how many seasons we think we're going to actually get out of this?
I think 3. So this is season 2. And I could be wrong. Maybe I just made that up. But I 3 seasons is in the back of my head.
So when now with
3 8s,
what's the back of your head?
3 10s.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
How many episodes were in the last season? Was it 8 or 10?
No, let me see. I think it was 8, I believe.
That's what the Google is for. Hold on.
That's
Season
what I'm pulling up now.
Let's see.
Last season had 10.
Had 10. Okay.
And this one is expected to have 18 episodes. I mean,
this is going to have 18 episodes?
No, this one's going to be 8. This season, 8 episodes. Last season was 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at what, possibly 13 more episodes, if we're lucky, 11 if we're not.
Yeah, I mean, the third season is going to be got to be pretty hectic then, because we've been kind of dragging this along for a little while.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to try to stretch out for a 4th season.
I'm game. I'm here for a 4th
No,
season.
here's the thing though. Without going to heavy spoilers, just counting potential casualties, then it will be very difficult to if the casualties that I believe happened in this season happen, it'll be very difficult to pull out 2 more seasons. Without certain characters. And so,
I'm thinking that we don't have any major casualties the rest of this season.
Oh, this is Game of Thrones. They're gonna kill somebody, either 7 or 8. They're gonna kill somebody.
I mean, we have the dragon seeds coming up soon. It looks like they're gonna call that casualties. I'm just saying, like, they're gonna use that, like, we had enough blood and guts in the Dragon Seers, episode, and then
I think at least 1, if not 2 more humans are going to die before the end of the season.
I'm saying 3. It has to be 3. It has to be 3. And if Christian Cole ain't among them, then I'm gonna have a whole attitude for until
Christian Cole here at least to next season. Now they're gonna let him ride out to next season.
Deal with him. Oh, and when Allison told him, she said, "I did not give you leave to use my name." Sis, we are a little too far beyond the pale for you to start, going into formalities, okay? Because that man knows you intimately, and because he said your name, that's the last shred of dignity that she kind of has. But yeah, I heard that, Barb. She slung that in his face outside.
Kristen Cole's plot armor is stronger than Valerian steel right now.
Well, and real quick, I want to talk about Aegon before we wrap up. The idea of like how that Valerian steel melted to his body.
That was hard to watch. It just made me like cringe. Like, oh my God, so them peeling it off of his. Oh my God, Yeah. And then did you hear him whisper for his mommy after she
Mhm.
left? And his mommy, oh man,
It
tragic.
reminded me of that cast iron skillet your grandma and mama had in the kitchen.
Yes, that they said
That
that pot is
sizzle.
hot. It's hot. Don't touch it.
Man.
I mean, and think about the Valerian still saved him, but like it feels like it's shrapnel. I feel like there's probably like other shards of like that suit still like in his body, like
Oh yeah,
melted
they
to his
definitely
body. They'll
didn't get
never
it
get
all
it come
out.
off.
They
He
definitely didn't
lucky
get
he
it
ain't got to
all
go
out.
through TSA because he's not going to get through. He's going to get wanted.
If you have on a hoodie, take it off. Right?
And now he's just gonna be high on milk
I
pop.
bet he wish he had listened to his mom and stayed at home. You know,
Yeah,
like just do
exactly.
nothing. I bet she. Or I bet she wish she listened
That's
to his
the
mom.
worst, probably Scott. He probably laying there like, man, if I would just stayed at home.
Put that cup down. Put that cup down and just go to
Do
bed,
you think
man.
he knows that his brother did it on purpose? Like, do you think he knows, or do you think it was in the battle and then something happened? You think that's we're gonna be like?
No, I think he knew when it happened. The question will become if he recovers, will he remember?
And
Because
what you
he
gonna do
saw
about it?
because he was super excited when he saw his brother at first, and then when he saw him do the cars, he goes, "Oh no!" And then he kind of shielded for cover. So I don't know if he'll remember it, but he definitely knew in the moment. It was like that.
Yeah, because I was like, oh snap, he's sitting there
That
like,
Mensa Society,
oh.
that Mensa Society interrogation. You know you fucked up, don't you?
Right.
You fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I ain't even do it on purpose. I was trying to get her. But
Right.
I don't know. I looked at you right in your eyes, and you look real happy as she was doing it.
And then took his dagger, and then got that man's dagger tucked into his belt, like when he and Allison were in the ramparts watching the parade of the dragon, and Allison looks down and she sees that he's got Aemon's dagger. She knew then what was up. She knew then what was up, which is why she tried to persuade him in the council. She says, his rash actions have already cost us dearly, and they're like, yeah, well, but you still can't be regent,
And he took out he's taking out 2 dragons. How many dragons have you taken out, Allison? That's the way they're looking at it. He's got 2-0. He's 2-0 up. Ain't nobody else is taking the dragons off the board but him in this war so far.
That is
He is 2, and almost was 3-0 low key. He almost got a 3rd dragon.
Right.
So,
right.
well, man, I'm looking forward to next week's episode as well. Scott, you think some people? So you predicted 3 people dead into this season. These last couple episodes.
I think so.
I think they're gonna stretch this out.
It's gonna get bloody.
Cause come on. Let's not forget, Otto been gone for 4 episodes now. Remember he was gonna go to Old Town, and then Allison said, hey, why don't you take this side quest over to Highgarden? We haven't seen Otto since he left. And you gotta throw him into the mix. You gotta throw in a bunch of other folks in the mix. So and also don't forget, Cregan Stark has his Northerners on the march to fight for Rhaenys. So don't forget about the Northerners.
I don't think Cregan gonna get here to the end of the season.
Me either. Me either.
Yeah,
I think the very end of the season, the first of next season, is when
I think Cregan's gonna be the star of season 3.
He's coming to fuck shit up for sure.
Oh, so you think he's gonna be the star of season 3? That's the way you think they're gonna play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense because it sets us up for us loving the Starks in the regular Game of Thrones, because it's like, oh, he's the star it is now. Let him come in and do his thing.
Right. He's not coming for vacation.
Right. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening as always. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back.